What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. This is Arnold Prints, the place where you help grow your print company. Today we're coming to you with another exclusive on embroidery. So what does it take to get into embroidery? How much do the things cost? And that's what we're going to cover today. We're going to go over the basics as far as how much bobbins are, different things that you need like backings, cones, which cones we use, and much more. So stay tuned, guys. All right, guys, super pumped. We're going to show you what's going on today. Again, this is Kevin with Arnold Prints. If you haven't done so already, make sure to like this video, hit the bell, and go ahead and subscribe. We got plenty of content coming out on the print business. We have reviews on different products, tips and tricks, and we'd like to collaborate with different companies as well too to bring you the best of the best, okay? So learn us through our journey here on how we became Arnold Prints since 2013 and how we got into embroidery. So today we're going to jump right into it and basically go over embroidery. So the things you need to know is what does it cost to get into embroidery? And this is the biggest question people have, and the biggest reason why nobody gets into embroidery is it's expensive, okay? So to get into embroidery, a single head, that's one head, which can have different colors on it, is about anywhere from $5,000, so that's $5,000, to about $15,000, okay? Sometimes people buy these products used from a company that's getting out of a lease, or you can buy a brand new lease. We suggest if you're a big business and you plan on upgrading your equipment, go ahead and go with the lease. Usually they come with some kind of technician contract, and it's a great product to have. So otherwise, if you're a small company, maybe buy used. You can get a good deal on somebody going out of business, and that's what we suggest. So $5,000 to $15,000 for a single head, guys. Okay, so not cheap, but that's the price of it. So if you're looking at a multi-head, we have basically two 6-head machines here and one single head, so 13 heads total. Our 6-head machines you can buy from anywhere, if you're finding a great deal, I would say about $10,000 for a older used machine. We're talking about like maybe 20 years old or older. And if you're looking for a brand new machine, you know, might get your ears checked on this one. It's about $60,000 for a 6-head machine. So if you buy a used 6-head, you can find a bargain for probably $13,000 to $15,000, but this thing's going to be about 15 to 20 years old. Still a great workhorse, but expensive. If you're looking for brand new Bardin, Tajima, ZSK, they're going to be up there. I mean, around 60 to even 70,000 with some of the different accessories. So very expensive. That's why you see screen printers everywhere, people cutting vinyl everywhere, because it's cheap. Everybody can get into it. So the problem with that, though, is what happens. If everybody's into it, they're going to bring your pricing down on all your products. So that's why we like embroidery. Not everybody can do it because they don't have the coin, okay? So we're able to have a specialty product that has its own market, okay? So the things that you need to know is just basic running maintenance. About every 4 hours, you're going to stop those machines. You're going to go ahead and drop some oil into the little oiling slots. So that's a basic maintenance. Oil is super cheap, guys. I mean, it's like, I buy like this whole jug here. It's like a gallon. I mean, it costs you maybe 20 bucks. Dirt cheap. The oil's nothing crazy. I mean, it's probably vegetable oil for all I know, but it works great, okay? So, I'm kidding. It's not vegetable oil. It's actually machine oil, but don't do the vegetable oil. You'll totally screw up your machines. I didn't tell you that. All right, so that's one thing you can do. Just basic maintenance. You're going to be dusting things out, so you want a good air duster, compressed air. Get away from those CFC cans and whatnot. Those things are horrible for the environment. You're going to use a ton of them. I don't recommend it. So get yourself either an air pump, or you can actually buy this like vortex fan. The thing goes like 200 miles an hour. It'll blow your threads and everything all over the damn place. It's crazy. It works great, though. It blows all the stuff out. So if you're doing puff, you're going to absolutely need that. The puff particles get in everything. It gunks it up, makes it horrible. So invest in that, guys. Okay. The next thing you're going to need is just the basics. So you're going to need backings. So you got black if you're doing dark shirts, you know, black, navy, any kind of dark shirt, you're going to need black backings, white backings. These backings here are 8x8. There's 250 pieces in here. There's about, I think they're $13 for about 250 pieces. These are the heavier weight ones, 3 ounces. We use those, a little stiffer backing. If If you're doing poly shirts, you're also going to need black and white poly ones. They're a special weave material that makes it so you don't feel as much on the shirt, because let's face it, guys, if you're doing poly and you got a lightweight shirt, you don't want a heavy backing sticking to you, okay? So backings, that's going to be for most of your flat work. Next thing up is absolute needed. This is a cone of thread. The brand we like to use is Madeira. We're not endorsed by them. We just like their numbers because everything has a lot number and a color number. Very easy to document and stick with. Plus, they're right out of Miami. We're in South Florida here, as some of you guys may know. Ships to us in about a day. You can't beat it. So find out who your local supplier is. Stick with your numbers. Make sure you document those in your invoices so you can follow up on the artwork down the road. Each one of these cones, they give you different various discounts. The cone for this one is about, I think, $6.95, $7. And this is basically a Polyneon cone. So the reason that we use Polyneon is because if it's anything that's going to be outdoors, like a baseball cap, if you don't use Polyneon, it will fade. So rayon is like it's like a varicose, sort of like a cottonish material. That stuff will just fade. This poly does not fade as easily. Will fade over time, but not as easy, okay? So that's what we use it. It's also easier to work with. It doesn't break as easy. This cone here is a 5,000 meter. They sell small cones for about $2.95. I believe that are a 1,000 meter. This cone here, just to give you a basis of how many hats you could do, about a 5,000 stitch hat. You could probably cover about 200 with one cone. Okay, so the caveat is if you have multiple colors, you have to buy a cone for each one. So at $7 each, if you got 15 colors, I mean, just figure if you're saying they're $10 a piece, you got $100 in cones easily, or $150 in cones if you got 15 colors on there. I think one of our machines has 9 colors, so $90 per head. We have 6 heads, adds up really fast. So something to consider, okay? So if you have a custom job, you have to take this into consideration that, hey, you want a custom color. I now have to buy this cone that may be a cone I'll never use again, or maybe I need a small cone or a big cone. We don't know. Just depends on the job. So cones, $7, $10. Now the big thing is if it's a gold cone, which is like a metallic, that stuff is insane. So like I think it's like 1,000 meter cone is about $20. I mean, just like stupid money. So if somebody wants gold, which is a metallic or super like silver chrome, forget it. Charge them, increase that price 5-fold minimum, because that cone is going to kill you in cost, and it's a pain in the butt to stitch, okay? So that's one of the basics. So we've covered the basics so far. You got basically the backings, different types. You got tearaway, you have poly backings, you have cutaway. So you have to have all those different types of backings because you never know what kind of job you're going to have. You got your thread, which is obviously most important, and then you have bobbins. So bobbins here we use basically, this is a Filtech, so magnetic. There's 100 in a bobbin case, so they are 38 cents a piece. The case is about $38, so you need that. Okay, so this is a little bobbin here, has a little pigtail thread. Okay, so you can see here, right in the back here, it's got a little magnetic, there you go, little magnetic piece there. So you have a bobbin. So basically the bobbin is underneath and the thread's up top. The bobbin's going to spin, grab the thread, and basically tie these knots, okay? Of course, then you need, needles. There's different needle brands. They cost about maybe $20 for about 100 needles. So the needles that most people use, I believe, are 7511. So that's probably the most common. It's kind of like your intermediate needle. This needle basically is good on hats. You have different ones too. You have sharp. You have ballpoint, which is basically a rounded. So what the ballpoint does is it actually pushes the fibers away on the garment, so hat or shirt, and it doesn't actually cut holes into it. Because if you have a sharp needle, it's actually puncturing holes into it. So what you see a lot of is if you're doing a sublimated type hat and you're really using a sharp needle, you'll see almost like these white spots. Now those white spots come because you're actually puncturing holes in it and it's showing sort of the white underneath it that's not sublimated. So something you can do is switch over to a ballpoint needle, which is going to spread the fabric away, not showing as much white spots. So pro tip, guys, pro tip. Say you got a tough hat that you're doing, maybe a Richardson or a New Era. They have really thick center seams. You're going to want to use something like maybe an 80-12 needle. So you're going to use something like a 80-12 needle on a hat. That'll help. Actually, it's a little stiffer. It doesn't bend as much. It's going to help cut through that hat easier, less thread breaks. The downside is the thicker the needle is, it's actually not going to have as fine a detail. So they do make needles that are even like a 60-90 or a 65-90. It's a smaller needle if you're doing fine detail. So anything that's like below really like 0.45 of an inch or even under a 1/4 inch, you're going to use a 60 needle to do that, so you get finer detail. And with that, they make different threads. So the basic thread that we use here, this red cone, is basically a 40 weight thread. It's basically your standard. So if you're getting a machine, 40 weight thread, easy way to start. If you're doing fine work, you can do a 60, which is a thinner thread. So the further down you go on the thread, the thicker it is. So if, say, you had a 20 thread, it's going to be pretty coarse and thick. If you're going to 100 thread, it's going to be pretty thin. So something to keep in mind. Different threads for different jobs. Same thing with needles. Needles we change out, once we start getting any kind of frays. If we've done a lot of hats, we'll change them out after a big job, a couple hundred hats or whatnot. So puff, same thing. Puff can wear down your needles. Basically, it's a sheet of puff that the needle's running through. It's rubbing. It's going to dull it out faster. Something you have to consider. So basic maintenance, like I said, these machines are going to get in anywhere from $5,000 to even, $60 and up. So just something to think about. As far as the stitch one hat, like I said, one cone. This cone costs $6.95 and you can do 200 hats on it. I mean, you think about it, it's cents per hat, but you're paying for the machine. So the concepts behind embroidery are a few things here. You have your supplies, your machine, and basically your time. And then of course you have the digitizing. So digitizing is probably the biggest thing if you're doing a low run. No one's going to want to pay that. Say it's $30 or $40 to digitize a design. You're doing 10 hats, that's $4 a hat added on top. It can get a little crazy. So usually when we say they're doing a digitization, that they're going to either do work in the future or it's a job that they're doing a high volume where it eats up the cost. So that's one thing you have to consider if you have a big client or something, how you're going to do the digitizing cost. Are you going to do it at cost, or are you going to try to make some money on it? So a lot of times we'll do it at cost if it's a contract client of ours, just to try to make them happy and get the job and get it done. So that's a big part of it. Like I said, the machine costs, maintenance, wear and tear. You never know what's going to happen. You replace little things, bobbin cases, needles. It all costs money. It's not that much. The biggest part is the machine and time. So what we always say is a goal is $45 per head is an even goal that you try to meet. So if you have a 6 head, you're going to run $45 to $40 an hour per head. So about $240 an hour plus. Single head, absolutely, I would say shoot for about $45 to $60 an hour just to help cover that cost, because it is going to take a little bit more time to go through the numbers because you only have one head going at a time. So if you guys have any other questions, we're going to shoot more videos. This was just a quick basic tutorial on the basic necessities of embroidery machines, the basic cost of getting into it, just kind of what materials are so you kind of know what you're looking at. We're going to film more videos on embroidery, actually on machine, how it works. And if you have any questions, hit down in the comments. Make sure to give us a shout. Thumbs up if you like this video. We're trying to get our likes up and really try to give you guys the material that you guys need to succeed in the print business. And that's what our channel's about. So feel free to share this channel, and we'll see you in the next one.